Hello! Today we are doing the last box in your claims about the text chart by using the dot. Our focus today is going to be on theme. A theme is a lesson that the author wants not just the character to learn, but also the reader to learn. Some examples are abuse of power, circle of life, think Lion King, courage, family, justice, growing up, progress, or even truth. We are going to read some mini stories today and get some practice with identifying theme. Here's the first story. Let me move my head out of the way. David peered down the steep embankment. His ball sat at the bottom of the cliff, and he knew the only way he was going to get it back was by finding a way down. If it had been any other ball, he would have left it to be swept up by the rising water, but it was the soccer ball that had been signed by David Beckham himself. There was no way he was going to leave it behind. David's heart pounded, and his palms were sweaty. He began to edge his foot toward the side of the drop-off, but as soon as he started to go down the hill, he pulled his foot back up, terrified of going any further. With a deep breath, David took a leap and tumbled down the hill. When he hit the ground, he couldn't believe he had actually made the jump. Beaming with pride, he gathered his ball and began the steep climb back up. So in this story, David loses a soccer ball that seems pretty important to him. And it says that he has to go down this hill, and there's rising water down there. So there's some kind of river, lake, something with a lot of water that he's kind of scared of. His heart is pounding, his palms are sweaty. We can definitely tell he's really nervous, but he climbs down that hill and he saves his ball anyway. So if I'm thinking about my themes, I automatically think he's kind of brave, but I don't have brave on my list, and brave is kind of like a character trait, but I do have courage. It takes a lot of courage to do something when you're kind of afraid of doing it and you have to stand up and do what you think is right anyway. Another story. While I'm reading, I want you to look for clues and think about what lesson is Jane learning in this story, but also what lesson do you think you're learning as you read this? What can you take away from the story? Jane's cousin smirked and said, "It's not a lie if you don't tell." Turning away, she sneakily slipped the Snickers bar into her coat pocket. Jane felt her face turn red as her heart pounded with fear. She had never thought of stealing, much less being a witness to such a crime. Winona skipped off, whistling as she waved goodbye to the gas station clerk. Jane ran quickly to catch up, but then stopped suddenly in front of the clerk. She slowly walked over to the employee, explained that her cousin must have forgotten to pay, and insisted on paying for the candy bar. It was Jane's last dollar bill, but she proudly handed it over to the clerk. She felt good about what she had done and looked forward to sharing the candy bar with Winona. After splitting the Snickers bar, Winona said, "See, it's not a lie if you don't tell." Jane replied with a smile, "But you told me." Pause the video if you need and give yourself some time to think. I'm going to go back to the theme chart, and I want you to think about what lesson do you think you can learn from Jane in this story. Her cousin Winona takes a Snicker bar from a store without paying for it, and Jane goes to the clerk and pays for that bar anyway. Pause this video. I think a great theme for this is honesty. Even though Winona was trying to steal the candy bar and said it's not a lie if nobody knows and things like that, Jane knew, and Jane was really upset about it, so she did the right thing and the honest thing, and she told the clerk what had happened, kind of, and paid for that bar anyway instead of stealing it. Now I want you to try it with the dot. What lesson did Peter Reynolds want his readers to learn from this story? Pick a new color to highlight any text evidence today, and don't forget to fill in your 4 square boxes.